Thank you for joining us for the 2-minute drills. I'm Aram and joined by Fred J. Robledo. This is the post-debate version of the 2-minute drills, Freddie. So we are not holding anything back.
Right.
We're not going to sugarcoat anything so that our voters are going to lean or think a certain way. We are here to tell it like it is, and we're going to get right into that. And the reason why we're prefacing this whole drill that may last a little bit longer than 2 minutes, may even last a little bit longer than 10 minutes, is because there's a gray cloud hanging over the big game in the Mission Valley League this year, and that one's coming up on Friday night, South El Monte.
It's great for one school, not for the other, probably.
Well, let's talk about that. South El Monte 5-0, hosting Arroyo 4-1. Both teams started league play last week with wins. They're both 1-0 in league. For all intents and purposes, this looks like the Mission Valley League championship come early. Okay. Let's get right into this. The gray cloud that I'm talking about that's hanging over the league is a couple weeks ago we reported Arroyo, some of their star players, very best players, Jason Villa, the quarterback, all-area linebacker, reigning league MVP, he's suspended. Yesdon Marquez, their top wide receiver DB, he's suspended. Brian Delau, arguably their best offensive lineman, defensive lineman guy, he's suspended. They've missed the last 2 games. There's another kid as well. They've missed the last 2 games, Freddie, and we don't know as of this morning. I hit up Coach Singeiser at Arroyo trying to find out what the deal was. We don't know if any of them are going to be back. We're not going to get into exactly why they are suspended other than what's been told to us, and I know a lot of you out there know exactly the reasoning and have your ideas, but there was an on-campus incident at Arroyo these kids were involved in. To what extent remains, to what extent and what exactly was going on remains a problem, but it's serious.
And you can use your imagination. When this happened, I'd gotten a couple of emails, I got some direct messages from followers. I knew right away what was going on because the 5 or 6 messages I got all were pointing in the same direction. This is not about a fight. This is not about grades on campus. You can use your imagination. Because they're minors, we don't want to go out and say exactly what we heard that they did or even what we know exactly other than these guys are suspended. Don't know how long this could be. This could be something, Aaron, that
leads, could be the whole year.
It could be leading the whole year. It could lead into kids getting kicked out of school. These at schools, they take things like this very seriously, and they should. And for Arroyo, it's going to have a big impact, not only this game, but like you said, the rest of the season. And
that's a team that has legitimate playoff.
Could be 4 bigger players that are involved in this.
It couldn't be. So now the question is going into this, Freddie, is whether these guys are going to actually play in this game. Now, last week when Rosemead was playing Arroyo, I talked to Rosemead coach Mark Paramo, and he's like, hey, I know full well these guys are going to play. They're going to be in there. They actually weren't. They didn't play. Rosemead gave Arroyo a game for a while, ultimately lost the game. So Arroyo is just not going to be the same team without these guys, but they may be back this week. But the point, Freddie, about this whole thing here is, and I know a lot of you know the exact reasoning why, and I know a lot of you are very wrong about who did what or what the situation was, and we're not going to get into that speculation here, is to these kids. Like I said, Freddie and I ain't your mama and daddy, but we can tell you about life. And that is that you have 1, 2, maybe 3 years to make it all happen in high school. You got decades, rest of you, ahead of you to screw up the rest of your life if you want to do it with women, drugs, alcohol, gambling, all the other things. Just don't do it now. I mean, we're all going to make mistakes, but you do it now and you're never going to get back your senior year. And there are guys counting on you. You're also not going to have guys like Coach McMillan and Coach Singeiser that are sitting there caring about you. Freddie, and I know, being in the real world, if I did cocaine off the hood of a car tomorrow and got fired from this job, Tribune's not closing. They're going on. So long, Aaron. People probably said I didn't like him anyways. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares about you. It was like in Ballers this week when The Rock gave that speech to the rookies at the rookie symposium.
This was the finale, right?
Right. And he gave this speech and he told all these rookies, there are guys out there that are bigger, faster, stronger than you, and they're all working retail. You know why? Because they did things that screwed up. So please, we urge all you kids, you have your entire lives to screw things up. Please don't do it now when you're never going to get back your junior year, your senior year, this opportunity to be with your boys and play in big games. Now, unless you have anything else to say about that, we can get into actually breaking this thing down.
And I just think it's unfortunate, Aram, and I know it's alleged, and speaking from my heart, I hope it's not something that cost these guys a season.
I do too.
I don't know if there were prior things that would make this work, that would make this punishment longer. But if this is a one-time only thing, wrong place, wrong time, you made a bad decision that day, I hope it's not something that ends your entire season. I think if you miss a few games, fine. You're putting the message out.
Right.
And then let's move on. But I don't think these are things where you have to take away an entire season. I think this is the week. If they're not back this week, Aram, I doubt that they will be back. I thought last week missing Rosemead, probably an easy decision from a football standpoint because that's a game you're going to get. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the
well, I don't know about that. That's traditionally the team that gives them the most trouble.
Rosemead is really down this year. I mean, tradition's out the window when it comes to Rosemead. Okay. They haven't won a game this year. They've struggled. I thought the week before when they played Roland, that was a game where Roland was undefeated at the time, and they went into that game. They sucked it up. They lost those guys.
42-7.
Yeah, and they just had a big game. But you saw that they had a little letdown the following week. I thought against Rosemead, a team I thought they'd put the same beating on. But now you're going into a game against a South El Monte team that is absolutely rolling, that can care less what's going on over Arroyo. Whether those guys are there or not there, they're going to do their thing. They're not feeling sorry for Arroyo. Arroyo's beaten down on so many of these teams over the year, especially South El Monte, that nobody's feeling sorry for Arroyo in their situation this week. Even taking those players away, this is a big game because for me, this is a truth game for South El Monte because I've looked over their schedule. They've been impressive, really impressive in their 5 wins.
Right.
But they haven't faced anyone like Arroyo with or without these players.
Right.
And it's going to be a huge test.
Right.
And when you look at Division 13 and these teams that we get excited about, saying, do they have a chance to win it? South El Monte's in that mix. Nogales is in this mix.
Right.
These are the games we're going to find out, are they legitimate or not?
Right.
And I think in the Mission Valley, this is really it. These are the 2 best teams. I don't think there's anyone else that's going to touch them. This is the Mission Valley League Championship on Friday night.
Right. But I do think, Freddie, though, that this thing hangs over the entire league because this is such a close-knit league.
Yeah.
It does for Arroyo, but it does for a whole league because this is such a close-knit league. And everyone's looking to see how is this situation being handled. Are these kids going to get off? And again, from what we've heard, these kids were wrong place, wrong time, and that's the extent of it. They were not bad actors per se, from what we've heard. So let's keep that in mind, okay?
And I'll throw something out there also that was told to me, and that there were suspensions, similar suspensions to someone on
girls
basketball team. Again, I'm not going to talk about exactly what it was, but it was the same type of thing where these basketball players, I've been told, and I haven't checked to make sure this is true, they were kicked off for the entire season.
Right.
So that's some of the politics going on in Arroyo.
Right.
If you do it here, why isn't it happening here?
Right. That's why I tell you it kind of hangs over the league. Now, there were other kids last year on other teams in the league that had similar situations that didn't get very much penalized. So that's why I'm telling you, this league is so close-knit, it's also wound together that, these things weigh over. But again, lesson here is that you are who you hang out with. Don't forget that. Make wise choices in that sense because you can't pay for other people's mistakes, basically. Now let's talk about this. South El Monte, coached by Frank Gallardo, a guy that has experience, Freddie, at La Serna, and before he came over, and that's a winning program, before he came over to South El Monte. He's got Will Hanzili on staff. Mike Mooney, the former Temple City coach, on staff. This is why South El Monte is 5-0 and in this spot. And it helps that they got the state's #2 leading rusher, Sal Tovar.
Sal Tovar's rushed for 1,227 yards. He's averaging 245 yards a game. He's already got 18 touchdowns. He's halfway, if you just finished 10 games, Aram, to 2,500 yards, which is absolutely amazing. This team goes deep in the playoff. This guy could be a 3,000-yard rusher. And when you look at their stats, they're just going to this kid 30, 35 times a game. Mike Mooney's on the staff, and I'm not giving him all of the credit for the way that they're running. Gallardo's obviously a good coach, but I remember Mooney back in the day in my Star News area. They had a kid named Sushi Side. Sushi Side. And they didn't throw the ball. They maybe threw the ball 2 or 3 times a game, and I'm like, Coach, are you ever going to mix it up? And he goes, why? If you can run and you can beat these teams this way, and nobody can stop you, then you don't do anything else. And that's basically what South El Monte's done. They said, this is our guy. We're going to dare you to stop him. stop him, and nobody's been able to do it.
Okay.
Now the competition is going to get a little bit better this week. Arroyo's probably, they're going to put all their guys in the box, and we're going to find out what happens. It's interesting, if he isn't able to move, then where does South El Monte go to?
Right, that's the question, because Arroyo's coming into this game, they're going to say, okay, well, you're not going to have Sal Tovar run crazy on us, so show us somebody else that can beat us. We don't think, we don't think there's anybody else on this roster, or there's anything else that you can do to beat us other than this kid. Now, South El Monte could be stubborn and say, hey, we're just going to ram this kid down your throat, and if you can stop him, great, and if you can't, then we're going to be league champs eventually. I'm sorry, but Arroyo knows how to take away this kid. I really do. I think he may have a decent game, but they're going to have somebody else step up to beat Arroyo.
When you look traditionally, when you face a team that can run the ball this well, those are the hardest teams to beat because they manage the clock, they keep the other offense on the field. Arroyo's a team that likes to put it up and score points fast. It could be frustrating against a team like this. And I don't know, Aram. I mean, I like that coaching staff over there. I think that South El Monte is going to be so fired up for this game. They won their first 5, and they kind of snuck up on people. We see Tovar, he's kind of snuck up on people. The statistics he's put up, you just said it, 2nd in the state. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. I think this is the game they're going to be so fired up, Arroyo's not going to be able to handle them.
So you're picking South El Monte.
And I think it can get ugly.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think it's going to.
You're banking on those kids not being there, because I'm telling you, if Arroyo's full strength.
If Arroyo's full strength, you would pick Arroyo, and if not,
I'm picking them regardless.
You are?
Yes.
Wow.
This is Big Brother, Freddie.
Wow.
This is the mental ownership of the league.
Now, let me ask you this.
That Arroyo has.
Do you think those players will be eligible this Friday night?
I don't know, because Singheiser told me last week he didn't know, and they didn't play. Now, people thought he was saying he didn't know because he was going to play them and just not tell Rosemead ahead of time. They didn't play. Yeah. So I really don't know. But I think without them, this game, South El Monte has a chance to win, but I would still pick Arroyo. Yeah. With them, I think Arroyo wins this one rather easily. Don't forget, when you talk coaching staffs, Singheiser and his staff.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Those are men, and these guys know what the heck they're doing.
And if all those guys are there, Aram, I mean, Arroyo's a legitimate threat in Division 12.
Yes.
They're number 4 right now.
This is one of their better teams, Fred.
My gut feeling
maybe even better than
my gut feeling tells me that these kids are going to play on Friday. That's my gut feeling.
And you would still pick South El Monte?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So there you have it. Disagreement.
Yes.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Hillary, Trump. We got disagreement. South El Monte, Arroyo.
They're gonna take care of business.
Very good, man. I will be down there in the swamp for this game. Very excited about it. I will be tweeting who's actually suited up and who's actually looking like they're going to play. So you may want to follow that. Wow. You should come out, Freddie. I'm sure you get a big reception on that South El Monte side.
Another undefeated team that needs some love, and it's great. It's great that you're going to go to that game, and I'm going to go to Nogales. Right. We're going to send our photographers and make a big deal, because these two teams deserve it.
We're very excited for it. Get out to South El Monte High School and enjoy this one.